All right, we are live for the 38th episode of the
Let's Go podcast. We are back as we headed to the final week of the HSL Fall Titan Legacy League seasons. We got some super tight races, as in the Titan League, every single team is still alive for the playoffs. In the Legacy League, we have 3 teams battling it out for the final 2 spots. And we are here with the one and only Jack Ross. Jack Ross played in the Bombers in the spring. He's playing for CBS here in the fall. And we're going to ask Jack some tough questions and can't wait to talk to him about everything HSL.
All right, before we get started, maybe we are getting started, but Jack is a very special guest for 3 reasons. First of all, he's the very first guest we've done on a Sunday, and a football Sunday at that. And that just shows how illustrious and how excited people are to hear from him. That's number 1. Number 2 is he's the first guest we've done from my bedroom. So you can see my wife's makeup behind us. You can critique her choices or not. That's number 2. So a new background for everybody. And number 3 is Jack is the first guest who I have a permanent tattoo on me from a collision I had with Jack Ross about 2 months ago. I was playing first base in the Monday night Croton League, West Simpson Softball League.
You heard it. You heard it there, guys. David Gottlieb played a game in the Monday night league.
Well, my bot, thankfully I survived, but it's been about 3 months, and you guys can still see that I have it. Actually, if you look closely, it says Jack Ross. I've never really played first base before. There's a ground ball to second. I was running towards first to get the throw, get bowled over by a 300-pound truck, and I'm still scarred from it. But I think I got the out.
You did get the out. Fully intentional. Too.
Fully what?
Fully intentional play.
Fully. Anyway, Jack, it's a pleasure to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me. The only unfortunate thing is I don't hear Avi outside of my window over here every day. I'm talking about HSL leagues outside my window. He's got all the calls.
For all the viewers there, Jack and I are neighbors. We live around the corner from each other. And the HSL hasn't yet reached the point where we could afford an office for the commissioners. So the commissioner's office is his sidewalk. So Jack hears Commissioner Edelman doing hakafas and laps around the blocks. That's my office, which, by the way, I love because I can't sit straight for a second. When we first started doing these podcasts, I got a lot of critique, specifically from a couple of family members, that I kept on bobbing up and down as the podcast would go. So I've actually gotten a lot better at staying still, but I usually can't sit for more than like 12 seconds straight. So it's actually working out really well with the setup in my office. But I am recording this live from my in-laws' house in my wife's old room. Shout out to my wife, Liat, for letting me use her old room. So Jack does not hear me through the windows because otherwise it could get a little distracting. But
Avi, how did you stop bouncing back and forth? What tips do you have for our ADHD viewers?
It's a great question. A big thing I did is I started holding objects that I could squeeze. So, like, for example, over here, I have these wipes that you guys don't see, but I am slowly and quietly squeezing and pulling so that I control my body. But I'm using my hands, so good tip. Everyone out there watching.
All right, So Jack, let's get right into it. So, I did a little research before, and a couple of people said about you is that you're a bit of a man of mystery, a little bit of sort of a quiet guy who goes about your business, and people don't know so much about you. So let's start at the beginning for our viewers who are intrigued by you. Where are you from? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Cedarhurst.
There's nothing mysterious about that. Okay.
Yeah, in the community with most of these guys that play in these leagues, but sit on the bench, few words, just take my at-bats, play in the field. Nobody knows how I got into these leagues. Nobody knows how I wind up on the teams. Ash always complains, that I'm playing with the older crowd. How did I get there? How did I get on those teams? Which is interesting.
That was one of my questions.
So interesting story. The way I got into, I guess, first Croton, I was playing basketball with Noah Aaron in North O'Neill Park. We used to go in the summers. We'd play. And after the lights as many people know, shut off on the basketball courts, I'd go and watch the softball games. So there was a game going on. Team had 9 players, and it was one of the Danny brothers, I think. He was playing catcher, and he slid into home plate and hurt his ankle. So they had 8 guys left. They were playing the hitman. So I was sitting on the side, and they're like, "Oh, you want to come in and play for us? We need an extra guy." So I came in mid-game, basketball jersey, basketball shoes. I wound up going 2 for 2, double into the gap, triple. They called me back for the playoff game the next week. Unfortunately, we lost, but I was like, after that, they asked if I wanted to join full time. I'm like, I don't have an issue joining full time, but I don't think I want to play catcher. So if you're willing to put me in the field, then my bat has shown that I'm pretty good. I'll play a regular position. But so that's how I got into these leagues.
What team was that, Jack? Well, who was the captain of that team?
It was a team that bounced between the A and the B. Jakob Weiss was on it. Avram Schreiber was on it. The tail end of his career.
The famous, you got to play with the famous Avram Schreiber. Wow.
Yeah. We would count in the outfield the strikes and balls, because at that point there was more balls than strikes being pitched. But but we would count in the outfield, hoping for a hit coming to us. But so then I played a couple seasons. We tried to pull a team together with a bunch of young guys when it was like me, Mo Feintuck, Jared was supposed to pitch. The team.
Who's Jared?
The ump.
The umpire. Yeah, Jared is the old umpire. He does the football games for Dom. He used to do softball.
Okay.
Yeah, good pitcher. But yeah, that didn't wind up working out. And then I think after about 2 years, I wound up joining Koenig's team. I've been there since.
What year? How old are you, Jack?
25.
And what year would you say that basketball, softball incident was?
That was going into 12th grade when I was going into 12th grade.
So you were really young. Okay, so you were really young.
I was probably 17, yeah.
It's a shame Noah didn't get picked up for that softball game also. He's also a great player.
He is a good player. He wound up going home. I was more into the softball even at that point. He's a very big basketball junkie. Good softball player, obviously, but he's definitely running to a basketball game over a softball game. I would say I'm running to a softball game over a basketball game.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jack, my business commissioner side of me, the second you said you were playing basketball with Noah Aaron, like, Jack Ross lives in Queens. What the heck is he not doing in the HSL Basketball League? I was a little bit confused right there.
I did get a couple of calls, but I couldn't commit to the league at this point.
In the winter,
wait! Who did Jack get the calls from? 1 second. Who was recruiting you, Jack?
I got a couple teams. Mayor Kringle was asking if I would be interested in playing, and then Zalman was asking if I was interested in playing. But
not to take shots here, Jack, but these teams are fighting for the last playoff spot. They could have really used you, apparently. So it was a little disappointing that you said no to them. But what I'm hearing from this is that right now you're playing fall ball, softball. But once the softball season ends and we have winter basketball, it seems like Jack's going to be hopping along.
Man of mystery. I guess you'll find out.
Okay, so that's funny. What high school were you in when you were playing basketball over there at North Woodmere Park?
I went to Rambam.
Rambam, got it. Noah wasn't at Rambam though, was he?
Yep. Yeah, we both went to Rambam. He's a grade under me.
He's a grade under you.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
We were both there.
And did Rambam have a softball or basketball team?
Yeah. I played on both for all 4 years. Softball was we peaked too early. When I was in 9th grade, we made the semis. But after that, we had some bad luck. Basketball, we were pretty competitive. My senior year was our best year. We went 9-5. We lost a tough home playoff game. But yeah, played at Sarachek. It was a good season.
I was going to ask about Sarachek. You played in Sarachek?
We played in Sarachek. Yeah, my senior year. Noah was in his junior year. That was the core of the team.
I happen to be weirdly obsessed with Sarachek. I have a cousin who's a phenomenal basketball player. And ever since he joined Sarachek last year, I've just been 2 years ago. I've been like, or whatever. He's in the Yeshiva League and in the Sarachek Hawk. I've been like weirdly obsessed. and I'm not afraid to admit it. Like, I've been watching like the tier 3 games on like the Thursday morning at 7 a.m. I'm like that obsessed on YouTube, like the live streams. I don't know why, but I got very into it.
Is that only for high schoolers, Avi, or is it too late for you?
No, only for high schoolers.
Oh man, what a bummer. So, and where'd you go after high school, Jack?
I went straight to Queens College.
Wow, the Rebbeim at Rambam were not able to twist your arm into going to Israel or yeshiva.
That's correct. There's many discussions, but
how did you pull that? How did you pull that off?
I was just like, I'm not going. Don't waste your time on me. Like And
you must have a very.
Of course, they take that with a grain of salt because I feel like 50% of the high school always says, "Oh, I'm not going. Don't waste your time on me." But I guess I was right.
You were right. You must have a very strong will because these Rebbeim can be very persuasive and very stronger than persuasive. I don't know, almost coercive. I don't want to get into any trouble. But you must have.
David, older Rebbeim we have watching our podcast. You better be careful what you say.
Oh yeah, tons of Rebbeim. Actually, we do, I guess, right? Because we have a number in the HSL softball league, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so a few more things about your background, and then we'll get to contemporary business. With the upcoming big doubleheader this week in the fall ball. So you when you're at Rambam, you're playing third base or center field. Where are you?
So Rambam, I moved around to wherever they needed me. In my first year, I played first base.
Oh, really? That's a waste.
I didn't really have my growth spurt yet. I was this chubby little fat kid, so I wasn't running around the outfield or whatever. I didn't look like what I look like today. So
how tall are you?
I tell people I'm 6'2", but my parents like to tell people I'm 6'3". I would say somewhere in the middle is probably the most accurate, but I'm not going to start going around telling people I'm 6'2" and 5/8 or anything.
See, Dave, when you're like me and you're between 5'10" and 5'11", you go 5'10" and 3/4. Once you're already at 6'2", there's no need to get into eighths and sixths and thirds.
That's right. Yeah, and at my height it's just hopeless, so you don't even bother at all. There's between 5'8" and 5'11", you add a half inch. Anything under 5'8", you don't even try. So you're a chubby little fat kid. They stick you at first base.
Right. Then 10th grade had the growth spurts. I moved over to third for 10th and 11th grade. And then 12th grade, I started running around in the outfield, playing center field. So it was moving all over.
So something I've discovered doing all these podcasts and getting to know people really well this year is I think it's a shame. I mean, you're a fabulous center fielder. I've seen you make. Do you remember in the Wednesday night league in the spring, you made like a game-ending catch or the second out of the inning maybe off of Mo Feintuch. You ran like, or maybe I'm mixing it. It might not have been the last inning actually. You ran like 40 feet, caught it at the tip of your glove off of Mo.
I think I was going towards center field, right? I think it was.
You're going
towards center field. I was in left center field. I was cutting across. Sometimes you just get a perfect jump, and those are the best.
Yeah, that was an amazing play, and I think we ended up losing the game by like 1 run. And
I remember that game. It was a very good game. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think you guys took a big lead, and then we fought back. So anyway, you're a fabulous outfielder, but what I've seen is it's really hard to find fabulous talent on the left side of the infield. So if you're anywhere above, like, I mean, even I would argue that it's hard to find people who can regularly make routine plays, is what I would say. Maybe I'm being too strict with that. I don't know if you guys agree, but I would say that it's almost not that you're wasted in center field because you're such a fabulous outfielder, but that it's so hard to find. I don't even want to call it lockdown third baseman. I want to call it. I don't know. What do you call it when somebody makes routine plays? I don't know what the term is. It's just really hard to find.
It's an interesting conversation because I feel like on our Monday nights in the spring and summer, I'm always asking to play third base, and it's that's the team with Koenig and all those guys. But I probably am 15 years younger than anybody else on the team, so my legs in the outfield are more valuable to, say, a team like that versus you could look at a team that I'm playing with right now, and it's like you have Matt, you have Shui, Adam, even guys like Shia are playing in the infield. That's a lot more valuable to sit back at third base. But I mean, I think we have plenty of good, very strong infielders that make those routine plays. It's just sometimes a little bit easier to see those mistakes stand stronger when there's a ground ball that gets booted or whatnot versus, a ball that might fall into the gap in right center field or left center field because somebody didn't take the right line to the ball.
That's very interesting. Avi, I've mentioned this point on the podcast a few times. Nobody's made that rebuttal yet. It's an interesting point. The booting of the ball is like a higher note. It's a more noticeable mess up than the taking a bad route, is what you're saying.
Matt, I also think it's harder to, when the ball's hit right at you, you got to make the play. Like, it's not so simple, especially if someone hits it hard off the bat at you, especially when you're playing in these high level leagues like the Monday Night League or the Titan League in the spring or in the fall. Like, you don't make that play, there's no excuse. And there's not a lot of people, like, as on Dubbett's point, there, at least from my perspective, like, there isn't that many guys in the left side of the field that you'll find that is making 99 out of 100 routine plays. Like, it's not so easy to find, especially the play and the throw. Like, it's hard to find, and I think it's again in the outfield also. Like, it's not easy to find someone who's going to be running the ball down on every single fly ball and making the right throwback to hitting the right cutoff man and on the right everything throw it in. But I think the infield is a league of its own.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of it, let's dive into. We're not done with your history yet, Jack. We'll get back to it. We'll try to flesh things out more. For to reveal the man of mystery, just so people know more about you. But meanwhile, let's get into this. Avi, why don't you lay the groundwork for this week's upcoming big time matchups?
Yeah,
which will,
we got a lot of fun.
Be very exciting.
We got a lot of fun. Hopefully, we could I don't know if we will, but hopefully before tomorrow night. We'll see. But both Legacy and Titan League, we got a lot of great matchups and talent, and a very whoever said that you need a draft league in order for it to be competitive 1 through 8, you're wrong, because tomorrow both leagues you got a very tight race for the last playoff spot. In the Legacy League, unfortunately, one team is eliminated, but I think the bottom 3 are fighting out for 2 spots. In the Titan League, we have a really, really close race where there are 6 teams. So the 5 and the 6 seed is going to be, decided for 1 spot. So they're actually playing each other. They're playing a doubleheader. It's King Ventures versus Gordon Companies. If King Ventures sweeps the doubleheader, they get the last spot. If Gordon Companies wins one of the 2 games, they get the last spot. Then the top 4, there's my team, which is MS Motors. Then you got CTC, CBS, and the Black Sox. All 4 of these teams could finish anywhere from 1 to 4. So Jack on team CBS playing versus CTC, straight doubleheader. They could get anywhere from sweeping the doubleheader and ending up in the 1 seed to getting swept and ending up in the play-in game. So there's a lot on the line here. You do not want to end up in a play-in game, especially this league that we have, the Titan League, the higher league in the fall. Every team has phenomenal fielding. Even our 0-5 team right now, King Ventures, they lost to Jack's team. I think it was maybe 3-2 or 2-1, and they had runners in the corners, 2 outs, and the guy had a line drive that Glenn Zuckerman made a fantastic leaping catch on. They lost to my team.
Which team was that?
King Ventures.
Oh, King Ventures.
They lost to my team, I think 3-0 and 7-5. They lost a bunch of close. They lost to Gordon Companies, I think 2-. Not Gordon Companies. They lost to Kaufman's team, also maybe 2-0. Bunch of close games. So you want to avoid the playing game to get into the semis, and this week is going to decide all of it.
So, Jack, what do you have to say?
I mean, confident that we'll have the top seed at the end of the night tomorrow night. I don't want to give my team's lineup away, but unfortunately I won't be there. But I'm definitely confident that
you won't be there.
The 10 that we bring down will be we'll bring it. We'll bring the victory.
You know, it's the second time, Dave, that we had someone on to not only to preview, but partially to preview the game, and they're not going to show up. If you remember correctly, I think it was the King Ventures Bombers last game of the regular season. I think we had, was it Menachem Diamondstein on with Steve Pollen? And he casually threw in during the podcast how he won't be at the game. What happened, Jack? Where you
Jack
gonna be?
is
You gotta be
flying.
to
I
this game.
forgot. Jack is a bigwig at work, and he's going somewhere, right?
Yes, I will be in Chicago.
What do you do,
Obviously,
Jack?
should have tried to make that flight Tuesday morning, but I rather do that when the playoffs are around.
That's a good point.
So your team is this Monday night team that you're on, or night fall ball team that you're on, the best team that you've ever been on?
It's a good question. I mean, I definitely think that some of our Bombers spring leagues have been a very stacked roster as well, with similar guys on each team. But I mean, it's definitely one of the best teams that I've played on.
Dave, I'll answer for Jack. I think the answer has to be yes. I mean, their team name is CBS Alliance. The reason why they're the Alliance is because they took the top 3 best teams to practically ever play in the Sunday morning or Monday night league and combine them. So you have guys like Ash and Matt from the Omnons. You then have Glenn Zuckerman. And then you have the offense and Jack Ross and Steve Pollen, and it's a phenomenal team. The question is if they're all going to show up. If they all show up the same week, it's going to be trouble.
So what was the thinking in making such a powerful team? I mean, besides the obvious, but you guys could win a championship without even being so stacked. What was the purpose of the alliance, as they're calling it?
From my perspective, it was respond to a text message of, "Are you interested in playing in a fall softball league?" Sure. Then I get added to a chat with a bunch of guys that I'm like, okay, this is actually a very, very good team. So I'm excited to play even more.
Who sent you the text?
I got the text from Steve Pollen.
Okay.
I think the idea behind it, or at least the excuse behind it, from Steve Pollen and Sach Felberg, was that being that it's the fall and there's gonna be a lot of guys that aren't gonna be around, they're not gonna be able to play. They want to make sure they have a big enough roster where they're not just throwing, they're not just putting together a roster of five decent guys and 5 schleppy guys. They want to have 10 legit guys every single week, and the way you do that is by hopping as many Monday night guys onto the same team. So they have like a roster of 16 guys. It's funny. This past week, Sach sent me a message, said very nice to him. Said, for your HSL media, we have Mordechai Shapiro playing for us. So after the game, they played a doubleheader. I messaged him. I said, I didn't know I knew he was a good basketball player. I've seen him play against Romu. So I never knew he's actually a very good softball player. And Sach responds like, yeah, he wouldn't crack our top 15. I'm like, okay. But that's at least that's the theory that I've gotten from him. Is that's the fall, people aren't around. They want to make sure they're able to put up a great lineup every night, especially if you're dealing with other teams like CTC, which is Archie and Kaufman, and phenomenal team. Basically the same conventures as it was from the spring without Avi Nenner for the most part, and obviously my own team, which is currently 4-1, ready to sweep and get the 1 seed as well. So. And the Black Sox, the rejuvenated Black Sox, the Shmuel Reda A-level Titan League Black Sox currently also have 4-1, which if they take care of business against us, they're also going to get the 1 seed.
So, Jack, that's actually a good thing to pick your brain on, because you're somebody who I think has played pretty consistently in the B League. I think you played spring and summer, right? And maybe last year too in the Wednesday night league. Is that accurate?
I think I've actually played in the B League since I joined the A League as well. I play both.
Okay, so something that me and Avi, have really struggled with and have been working on a whole lot is trying to encourage players in the B League to feel like they have a shot in the A League. And you have some really strong players in the B League that I think could compete. It might take them a couple of years to figure it out and learn it. The same way it takes a couple of years for somebody to figure out the B League if they hadn't played in 10 years and their talent is B League talent. So I'm curious what your thoughts are on the differences between the league. Do you think there are more players who are capable of playing in the A League than might give themselves credit for? What are your thoughts on the whole dilemma.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing between the A League and the B League, there's two big differences. One of them being the pitching, consistently, you know, probably a higher velocity pitch in the A League and more command of the zone. And then obviously two is the errors as a whole in the field. That being said, there are definitely many players that can be that play in the B League now that I think can be competitive A League players. It obviously takes time to develop into a better A League player. They'll once you come to the league and you can acclimate to playing with those better pitchers, and you only get better over time. I think you get used to playing against an Ash or a Pollen versus somebody that not that they're throwing strikes, but it's right over. But I think you can only really get better and become a very good A League player by playing against better competition. And so that being said, there obviously are plenty of people in the B League. I think Suicide Squad, where I play on the B League, is a good example of that. There are definitely more A League caliber players than just myself and Sin.
Who, Jack? Who? Let's get some names. Who are your?
If
there are 3 guys on Suicide Squad that you think could make the jump, who are those?
I think
3?
Surly Dax can definitely play in an A League. Who else? I mean, Jordan's dabbled in both for a while. He's obviously older, but I definitely remember playing A League games with him.
He's a great situational hitter. He
knows himself. Like he goes after the. He knows he wants to go the other way.
Loves right side. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. And I think healthy Morty Dax could also play in the A League. He actually played on that team I was referencing before when we tried to bring in. It was with me, Mo, and Jared, and I think Morty Dax played with us a couple of times. Yakov Sabo played with us. We had some guys there that
was the Yakov Sabo before he moved to Lakewood, got married, had 3 kids, and came back.
And put on 25 pounds? Gosh, it's a Cersei Chuba. I don't know what I'm doing. I hear
Yakov just won a championship with me in the summer, although he didn't play the last 7 games due to an injury.
Yeah, but he was on the roster,
that's
so that's
right.
all that matters.
He got his trophy delivered.
He got a trophy.
Yeah.
So those guys, you think could contribute at the A level? Would you, Jack, ever consider captaining a team at the A level? Perhaps some younger players, newer players, fresher to the scene?
I will never consider captaining a team, period.
Why is that?
I definitely, hats off to the people that do it. It just seems like a hassle.
That's true.
It is a hassle.
It is.
You have your chat. I mean, even like, let's say Alliance, right? You got 16 people in the chat, but if you got to go off chat, it's just that much harder to find someone. You got 8 people that say yes, and you got to go and find those extra 2 people, and you want it to be someone that's competitive, bring in a 1 through 10 that's as strong as can be, and not just throwing someone in the field so that you have 10 guys. So hats off to those guys that do run teams, but no interest here.
By the way, like I said before, I think why Alliance is formed, so that you try to limit that as much as possible, because 16 guys, you're hoping at least 8, 9, 10, at least 8 guys are on, so you don't have to find too many.
Right.
The politics are even probably the more challenging part. If you're going to get to the playoffs and then you have 12 guys who want to play, who's on the bubble? I guess Steve and Sach will figure that out. Speaking of captaining, one question I got was, a decision. And let's go to the championship game from this spring, which is it's so great that you guys played 3 games. And Avi, I don't know if it's going to work out for the fall ball.
I want
to do
to.
a 3-game
it's
series.
really a matter of field availability and player preference. Like, would a team rather play 3 games? It means playing in 7 degrees colder the next week. Like, it comes down to, I don't care to spend the money for the field. I'm sure you don't either.
Maybe we could do 3 in 1 week.
Yeah, no.
2 nights if they can play.
The semis is not going to work. I'm down for the championship to be a best of 3. It's just a matter of 2 things: field availability and if the players want it. If the players want it,
you think we could get that? And maybe we should offer that for Legacy also.
Yeah, I'm for any for.
It added so much, I thought, to the spring Legacy. I think it was impossible because the season extended a bit longer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I thought it added so much having a championship, all the hype and intensity, and such competitive guys on each team. The podcast is really fun. we're hoping for Feintuch versus Nenner in the championship. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if you know, Jack. There's some Feintuch left Nenner's team at the last minute, so there's a little squabble there.
Join the Black
But,
Sox and now carry the Black Sox to a 4-1-1 top of the league record. So there's a lot of bad blood. Doubleheader this
a lot
week.
of bad blood. So one question I got about the spring was that you batted leadoff, I think, in the I don't know if it was just in game 3 or in the first 2 games.
I think it was just game 3. Yeah, I think it was
game
just
3. And you were very high RBI guy, might have even led the team in RBIs according to some. So somebody was asking about that decision to bat you leadoff. Was that a mistake that your captain made?
I don't think so. I mean, at the end of the day, that lineup is very strong all the way through, and you're going to put your best hitters towards the top of the lineup. So whether that means I'm going to bat 1 or 4, or now in the night league I'm batting 5, like I'm happy to. You're going to come up in a situation potentially where that could, be something that's very important to have those people there. An example is like in the last year's summer, I play with the Offmans and Gabi Dechter, and so I think Shuey couldn't make the game, and there was a big debate on whether I always bat 2 on that team.
You're talking about the Shul League, right?
Yeah, in the Shul League, and because Shuey wasn't there, they put me 4 instead of 2 for an RBI situation, potentially, and we wound up losing the game. Not that that's the reason that we lost the game, of course, but you look back and it actually I was left on deck. Me and Adam joke around that I think from last year and then this year there was like 3 or 4 games in a row where I was the next person up, and I mean everyone knows Adam. He's a phenomenal hitter, but it was just the irony that I would bat behind him, and for like 3 or 4 games in a row I would be left on deck.
Well, it's kind of funny you're bringing that up because one of the rapid fire questions I had for you, which I'll just ask you now because you're on that topic, is that in the championship game 3 you actually made the last out. So, and you know who was in the on deck circle?
Who was it? Glenn or Adam? Glenn, maybe.
It was Glenn. It was Glenn. So the question was, who's thinking more about your at bat, Jack Ross or Glenn Zuckerman?
Probably Glenn. I did put a good hit on that ball. And as he kept running out of nowhere to make that catch, so I wasn't really too upset with the. Obviously, the result was unfortunate, but I don't think I could have hit the ball much better.
Yeah, if you watch the highlight on that, my voice perked up like 6 decibels. I thought that ball was driven over the guy's head, and then as I look, I see there's an outfielder settling under it in like dead left center field.
Yeah, as he went from right center field to left center field and made that catch. Yeah. I didn't think he'd get there, but I haven't lost sleep for it.
Before we get into the rapid fire questions, I guess, what is your approach as a hitter? I'm curious. It's a general open question. Take it how you want.
I would say that I'm an aggressive hitter. I like to swing early in the account. I think that pitchers are going to give you the easiest ball to hit early in the account. Someone like Kaufman, right? A lot of speed there. Ash, a lot of speed there. If they're giving you an earlier pitch in the account to get ahead of you, you got to go to the defensive if you're just going to take it. So I'm always a early swinger.
Got it. All right, you ready for rapid fire questions?
All right, let's do it.
Do you have anything you want to get to before that?
I was thinking actually, my mind is so warped. These rapid fire questions are becoming such a hit. We should really get a company to sponsor the rapid fire questions. It'll be a sponsor within a sponsor. It should be the blank company rapid fire questions. That'd be very cool. I'm ready to roll. Let's go.
Avi is all marketing all the time, and that's what we love.
Yes. Well, marketing, sales, recruitment, and of course, customer service.
Let me just make sure I have this ready to go. All right, let's do this. I'm gonna start. And you know what? No, you asked me like if it's thoughtful or not. So something I want to get clear is, we're looking for your gut reaction. So, and then later on you could do damage control. But once we get through all the questions, I actually have 8 questions. So, all right, ready? Late inning, big game, big spot. You're in the field. Who do you not want the ball hit to on the Bombers?
Caleb Pollen. I think down the road, I think he'll be a very good player. But right now, it's the rookie.
It's the rookie. All right. Bases loaded, 2 outs. It's a tie game. It's the bottom of the 7th. You're at bat. Bombers are at bat. Which bomber do you want up?
Myself.
Who are you taking, Shuey Hoffman or Adam Hoffman?
Adam Hoffman.
Who throws harder, Assis or Daniel Ash?
I've never been in the box for Assis, but he looks like he throws pretty hard, so I'm just gonna go with Assis. But I've only been in the field behind him.
Got it. Who are you least? Sorry. Who are you most interested? Okay, this is a 2-part question. You've got Michael Diamondstein, Yossi Kaufman, Daniel Ash on the same squad. Who do you want to face of those 3?
Diamondstein.
Who do you least want to face of those 3?
Kaufman.
Ooh.
Over Ash. A lot of people have been
gets
saying that, by the way. It's a very.
That's actually, yeah. What? How come? How come, Jack?
Ash throws hard, but it's really one pitch. All right. The thought process was Diamondstein is the most erratic, so he'll get behind in the count and he'll give you a meatball. Ash throws hard, but it's pretty much straight. I think Kaufman is the best at mixing up his pitches.
That's smart.
Got it. If you're building a squad, let's say you do decide to become a captain one day, you're building a squad, who is your first phone call to?
Matt
Rosenberg. Okay. Wow. Over a pitcher.
Yeah.
He's that good. All right. Last question. And I need your gut answer. No hemming and hawing. Who do you prefer as a captain, Steve Pollen or Tivia Blisco?
Steve.
All right, Tivia. I'll send it right to him. How come?
You asked for gut. I wouldn't say I have a real answer behind it. I just think that seeing both teams, I think Steve has a better team construction in a lot of these leagues. So just overall, when building a team, I think he would put us in a better position to take home a championship.
Maybe if Toby and the Blue Owls wouldn't have gotten blown out by National Getaways in the HSL Summer League Championship, maybe things would have changed.
Maybe.
Boom, boom.
Or maybe if he didn't leave for the flushing toilets. Or
Yeah.
I think Jack, by the way, answered these questions the best out of anybody so far. Maybe Evan Roberts. Evan Roberts might have answered better. Other than Evan Roberts, I think Jack answered the best from anybody we've had so far. The quickest.
How do you mean? What was the
quickest? I mean the quickest, the sharpest, without any stopping and pausing for 30 seconds on different questions.
It's true. All right, I guess we're just about running out of time. We have a big sports day today. I keep checking my phone. The Jets, not able to get it together. But then we also, Jack, like myself, is a Jets and Mets fan. So Jack took. I don't know if it was like really nice of you to take off from watching this miserable Jets game in London to be with us, or if we were doing you a favor. I'm not sure how you look at it, Jack. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I got the score over here. We got the play-by-play going on next to me. But
well, how much time's left in the fourth?
10 minutes.
Oh, 20 to
They
10.
got a shot. They're down by 10. They got a shot, but
they actually just Darnold just threw an interception, so the Jets have the ball in Minnesota territory. So
this is good because I need the over 40
and a half. We
need the over 40 and a half. So that's good news.
So I guess you're rooting for the Jets because if they win, then
yes, then we hit the over. Correct.
And Jack, what are your thoughts on the Mets for today?
The Mets, I mean, they've been very gritty lately, so it's nice to see small ball, singles, put yourself in a position. Obviously, they're the away team, so success to just split on the road and take care of business at home. But I don't think anybody would complain with 2 wins in Philly.
Absolutely.
My prediction is the Mets Cinderella story ends losing 3 games in a row and getting swept by the Phillies after their first one.
All right. My prediction is that the Yankees will go another year without seeing a World Series.
The
Making
the
it
Yankees
16 straight years.
The Yankees this year have the easiest route to the World Series that they've had, I think, since 2001.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, I'm actually nervous that the Yankees are going to make it back because the one thing I have over the Yankees as a Mets fan is that the Mets have been in a World Series more recently than the Yankees. So that's all. That's all I got.
All the Yankee strengths went to die yesterday, and they still won. So Yankee fans, look at it that way. It's a tremendous perspective.
All right. Thanks so much for coming on, Jack. Hopefully we'll do it again soon. Maybe playoff, maybe a championship preview or something like that would be fun.
Yep. Thanks, Jack. We appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye, guys.